Drill Sergeant here. What's going on, Grill Billies? After a heavy 4 months of daily use, today we're going to be reviewing the Pit Boss Competition Series 1600 pellet smoker. We're going to be going over all the pros and cons, the good, bad, and the ugly, so get out a pen and paper and we're going to find out today if this smoker is going to be right for you. Let's start the show. So if you've ever been in the barbecue aisle at Academy, I'm sure you've seen the competition series line and have thought like, hey, I'm wondering if this would be a good option to have in my backyard as a barbecue tool. After 4 months of using this thing pretty much every day, man, me and my family have been eating good. Now, with every pellet smoker, there is a learning curve to how to get used to it, but overall, I've been really happy with the competition series. So we are gonna go start with the pros. The first pro that I like is the lid design to this smoker. It's on a hinge system, so you can, instead of lifting the smoker above your head, sometimes these lids, it can get kind of heavy, so to try to lift that above your head is one thing, but this is just it's on a rolling design. So it does take less effort to actually get the lid open to access the inside chamber, and when it closes, it actually forms a tight seal on the side, so it really helps trap the smoke where it needs to be. And then in the back you have vents for basically the smoke to kind of pass through and then escape out the back. As far as the lid design, that is pretty clean. Now, I've posted videos doing kind of like smoker modifications. You know, you could take the smoker tape, and if I were to use smoker tape and put it here, maybe that would help even produce a tighter seal. But realistically, when it comes to holding temperatures, coming up to temperature fast, I've found no reason to actually even need to modify this at all. I have done no modification to this. It really does a good job. The second thing that I really like about this thing is its size. It's perfect for grilling for the family or having some friends over. With the space that you get in here, it does come with 3 racks. I've actually never used this top rack. Usually when I barbecue, I'll take out the top rack and I'll either leave the middle rack in, or I'll just take out the top and the middle rack and just have the bottom grate here. But realistically, if you wanted to, you could easily fit maybe 5 briskets in here, maybe 6, and then just tons of racks of ribs and then pork butts, whatever you wanted to fit. I haven't gotten to a situation when cooking for, say, like a birthday party where I'm like, crap, I ran out of room. Like, this thing has ample space. A lot of people are hesitant to cook on a pellet smoker for the quick cooks, as far as like burgers or hot dogs, just because, oh, it's going to take a while to heat up. With this thing, it heats up probably in just the same amount of time as a gas grill would heat up. You turn this thing on, and within literally a minute or 2, you already have the fire going, and then you can close the lid down, set your temperature, and then by the time you have your food prepped and coming out, the grill is ready to use for those hot and fast cooks. But for those overnight low and slow cooks, man, this thing stays dialed. So I really do like the size. It's perfect for single use, or if you have a family, or if you're even doing like a backyard birthday party. This is definitely a great size for what I've been using it for. Now from there, I really like the control board, and this allows you to go all the way from smoke setting, which is 180 degrees, all the way up to 500 degrees in 5-degree increments. As far as finding that perfect temperature, dialing in whether you're, doing the low and slow barbecue and really just trying to just dial in that temperature, having 5-degree increments is pretty cool. For the pros that actually need that do like competition cooks, and 5 degrees actually does make a difference, that's cool to know that it can do it. So if you're trying to follow a recipe that you see and it gives some weird like, oh, heat it up to 420 degrees, and I'm like, well, my smoker doesn't do that. You don't have to do any mental math. It's this, you can pretty much set it to whatever temperature degree. So I do like the flexibility to have 5-degree temperature adjustments. That is very handy. And under smoke setting, you do have a custom smoke mode where you can actually get this thing to produce more smoke if you wanted it to, less smoke, depending on your smoke needs. So you can really dial this thing in on the exact flavor that you want to get. So definitely love the controller, really easy to use. It's very nice. Going up the list, another thing I really like, if you wanted to actually clean out the burn pot, if you were to remove all these grates and stuff like that, your hands would get really dirty. I mean, it's just, everything's just caked in grease and whatnot. But underneath the smoker, there's a little latch system down here, and you can actually just pull out the burn pot. The contents of the burn pot is in here. You can literally just dump out the ash, put it back under, and then you're ready to start smoking again. Custom tip for you, something I like doing to even expedite the already quick startup time is when I have that burn pot out, if you take your pellets and maybe a small handful, we're talking maybe there's 15-20 pellets, if you actually preload some pellets in here, when the auger starts turning and that rod element heats up, you already have stuff to heat up, and that helps you get the flame started a little bit quicker than if there were no pellets in here. So pretty much now the firebox is cleaned out. I got some pellets already primed in there. She's ready to run. Do you remember watching Captain Planet as a kid? You know, all the kids have their rings and they're like, and then Captain Planet's like, with your powers combined, I am Captain Planet. Well, looking at all these features and putting it all together, my favorite thing is because of how easy and quick and fast this thing operates, I find myself cooking on this all the time. With the quick startup times, I don't even flinch. If they want burgers, it's like, hey, it's so quick just to get this thing up and running. I would say 80% of the stuff I cook on here are the quick cooks. We're either grilling steaks or grilling hamburgers, hot dogs. So I do a lot of quick cooks on here, but she also does shine at the, you know, I'll put a brisket on at night, get a beautiful night's sleep, come up in the morning and then just finish it off. It's easy. Out of all the smokers I've had on this channel, I probably actually use this one the most in the amount of times that I've used it, just because of how quick it is to get this thing up and running. So perfect size, perfect shape, perfect temperature, perfect features on it. I love it, but don't be thinking this is the Mother Teresa of backyard pellet smokers, because she does have some cons. And if you do get it, I do want to let you know they're not the biggest deal in the world. This is still probably one of my favorite smokers. The first con would be the hopper. Now the hopper itself, I believe it's a 28-pound hopper, which is ample for overnight cooks, low and slow. I mean, you can have this thing, feels like you can have it running forever. Since the actual auger hole is off to one side, when the pellets actually start going down, I've come out here sometimes and you find it will actually start getting really low, and there's almost like pellets that will build up around where the auger entrance is. And it's not like the pellet level in here goes down evenly. You'll see it basically start tilting down. So normally this thing comes with this pellet guard. It's basically saying, hey, don't put your hand, you never want to put your hand in here. But I ended up just taking this thing out just because it's easy to actually get in here and kind of start moving around the pellets. I'll kind of scoop the pellets in a direction where most of the pellets are going to be over the auger entrance, and then it kind of evens itself out. And it's easier that if I wanted to grab some pellets here and prime the hopper, that's just what I do. So, but just don't be dumb. Don't get your fingers caught in the auger and be like, oh my God, why is there extra flavor on my food? All right, next con would be the fold-out tray. Now don't get me wrong, I love having a fold-out tray. Really easy to use. One hand you can lift it up and then you can put what you want. But then to close it, you have to use two hands to close it. To me, that's kind of a pet peeve because I've seen designs where you can actually, I believe it was the Laredo 1000, you can close it with one hand. So if you are holding something, it does make it easy to open it up and then close it with one hand. But with this, you actually have to use two hands. Now the last con that I have, and again, this is just comparing it to the Pro Series 1150 that I had. That thing was built like a tank. That thing just, it felt like if I shot at that thing, that, you know, bullet would have like ricocheted off. That thing was so, it just seemed like heavy duty. You open the lid, you close the lid, and you're like, man, this thing is just like rock solid. If you say go to Lowe's, and they do have the Pro Series 1150 there, and you do go to Academy, and then you play with this. By just feeling the Pro Series 1150, it feels like it's just like, man, this thing is like a tank. It just has like this build quality that's like everything. I don't know. It seemed like just it was a bulletproof smoker. And when I got this, I was kind of like, man, this thing is just, it feels like it's a lot lighter in material. But then when I actually did, well, how much did the 1150 weigh and how much did the competition series weigh? This smoker is actually heavier. So I'm like, I don't get it. Now, is it an issue? No, I haven't seen, like, this thing heats up quick. It holds its temperatures. If anything, if I wanted this, like, oh, I wish it used thicker steel, it would probably be double the price. As far as if you were to say, well, which one would you rather pick? I would still pick this one over the Pro Series 1150 just because of how quick this thing heats up. Like, it's nothing compares. I've used multiple smokers across multiple brands. I have not found a smoker to date that heats up as fast as this smoker heats up. Now, if there were anything, if I could change anything about this smoker, is I wish this had pull-out grates. That would be handy. There's so many times where, you know, say I'm doing chicken, and obviously with chicken you're going to be cooking at higher temps, 350, 375. And there's some times where I'm like, let me just sauce the chicken up a little bit. You're standing over and you're reaching in here and it gets hot. I mean, you're like saucing one chicken, you're like, woo! And of course you can do like heavy duty barbecue gloves and whatnot, but just still there's just standing here, there's just this heat that just comes out at you. Whereas if you had something where you could pull out, now you're further away from the smoker and you can pretty much sauce either your ribs or your chicken and then slide it back in. That would be cool. And the only reason why I say stuff that I would like to see in the smoker is because Pit Boss's R&D, they actually listen. You'd be very surprised. There's so many things that I've mentioned in past videos, and then going forward on newer models, it's like, oh, that's cool. They made that improvement. But other than that, if you're looking for a awesome pellet smoker in the backyard, I love the Competition Series 1600. This thing is a beast. This is one of my favorite smokers. I love cooking on this thing, and it makes cooking fun. And since it's quick and heat up times, there's really no excuse not to use it. Now, I did see they also did have a Competition Series vertical smoker, so if you are into the vertical aspect, which is kind of what I first started with, that's pretty cool. But man, as far as these quick backyard cooks and these slow overnight cooks, this thing can do it all. Have I done any competition barbecue yet? No. Do I plan on doing any competition barbecue? Probably not. But it is pretty know that if you did want to go the competition route, this could easily help get you up and running to do that. So, hope this information helps. If you did find this video helpful, do consider liking and subscribing. We are always cooking, grilling, chilling, smoking, doing the whole 9 yards. So if you want to join us along for that, that would be cool. Other than that, Grill Sergeant out. Cheers.